yeah, we got too many reels. We're not like the reel test. We stop buying reels right when we get to the point where we don't need any more to fish with. For now, anyway. Some will be weeded out. We may get some more later on. So I'm going to give you a quick update on reels, and we got an unboxing from AliExpress, and they've put a bunch of, I think all of my orders in this one bundle. I'll have to open it up. But before we go there, still for sale, I know, Brew Tank Outdoors. He wants to trade me a Geico pigeon, the Geico pigeon, for this, right? I'm tempted. I don't know what to do with this. I wish it was a lower gear ratio. I'd just use it. I would. And why is the color way off? That thing looks gray, not blue. Lighting in here is weird. So anyway, still up in the air with this reel. What to do with it? What to do? What to do? Dark Wolf Ultra. I have two of these just sitting around I haven't even used yet. Brand new. They're the newer ones. They have the fixed braking, magnetic braking, not the dynamic. Still just as capable, right? Is that thing making a noise? Hear that? That's good. So we got two of those floating around. Haven't even used yet. We got, if you guys remember the whole ordeal with all of these, I was going to tell you because Paul and them had commented on a video when I first did the unboxing on these. And I mentioned to him in the comments, and I hadn't really talked to you guys a lot. If you guys have been watching the channel, you've kind of caught on that for whatever reason, in my opinion anyway, and I've had the one issue with not this reel, but the other one. This is a 7-to-1. So I know the 7-to-1s, you know, the lower the gear ratio, they're not really smoother. They're just freer to turn, right? Because they're giving you more power by cranking, but they're slower. But I still have it. It feels like all the reels that I've ordered in these variants that are 8-to-1, I'd swear the gearing isn't as smooth, meaning I feel the 8-to-1 gears, you know, both gears are different. The main gear, the pinion, they're all different to get to the 8-to-1 gear ratio as opposed to the 7-to-1. And I feel that the gears are maybe not cut as to high tolerances or something. But I don't know for sure. I've only got a couple like that, and I've got more that are 7-to-1. All the Dark Wolf Ultras are 7-to-1. The two of the Acuras are 7-to-1. One is 8-to-1, and the one, if you remember right, I got the screwed up reel. That's a whole nother different story. But one of them's 8-to-1, one's 7-to-1, and the 8-to-1 kind of makes a little funky noise. This is a 7-to-1, but I'd swear that all the 7-to-1s just, I know they're going to feel freer, but they feel smoother than the 8-to-1s. Almost like the gears aren't cut. And that could be in my head, because this is the 8-to-1 and it does feel pretty good right now. And it may be a thing of the 8-to-1s just need a longer braking period, because I'll be honest, I have not fished the 8-to-1 with as many cranks as I have. I've fished the 7-to-1s more like for real good moving baits and kind of jig and, you know, slower working baits with the 8-to-1. And same thing on the other one that is on, it's still on the filling rod from the last time I went fishing. So it's just my thoughts so far, if there's any downside so far. And I'll be honest, I definitely like the 7-to-1, even though I think, you know, if you're trying to use it just for a flipping pitching, you know, even like a smaller, you know, if you guys watch Tactical Bassin, they talk about that flip and pitch BFS gear with smaller like Ned rig. You know, we've talked about it for years here, but basically if you're wanting something real fast, I just find that, I don't know, because like my Zillions, the 5-to-1s, if I spool them all the way up, I just don't like the way they feel. I like them about half spooled, which is putting them down either to an even 8, probably under, probably more like a 7-8-to-1 or something like that. I probably need to count the inches per turn on the first like 20, 30 feet or something, just see roughly how many inches come in at half spool compared to a full spool. I may do that even in a video, or I may just do it and tell you guys what I got, because I haven't done it yet. I can tell it definitely makes a difference on reeling baits in. And I can tell that I definitely like the 7-to-1s for the one I've got for my chatterbait rod. I like it for any of the cranks and that kind of stuff over the 8-to-1. I like my Zillion way better halfway spooled, reeling in any of that stuff over the full spool. Even really just swimming the jig, like those finesse jigs, just throwing them out there and swimming them in with the, I have the fully spooled reel. On the 7-foot heavy and the 6'9" medium heavy, I have a 7-to-1 accurate, and I just like the way the accurate feels better on that, just how I can work the reel at a certain speed. I feel I got to slow down, like I have to physically make myself slow down when I'm cranking in anything. And then, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I think higher speeds have their places, but I think that my honey hole, my wheelhouse is that 7 to just under 8, like the 7-1, the 7-5. I think they make a few 7-3 to 1s, or the 7-8. I think they make some 7-8 to 1s. Anyway, so keep that in mind if you're going to get any of these reels. If you definitely know you like high speed ones, I'm thinking 8 to 1 gears maybe take a little more break in, and they may never get quite as smooth as what these are. It may just all be in my head because I don't have any. The one definitely started making noise, and I still don't know why it's making noise. This one, I just feel it's not as good a reel. It's hard to explain as the two 7-to-1s. I don't know 100% what it is about it, other than the gears that's the only difference in the reel. And I remember I watched a video and I heard Gerald Swindle talking about that. The G-Man, right? And the G-Man's like, I know it has nothing to do with it, but I'd swear, and I forget what reels he was talking about gear ratio. He swore that I think the slower 6-3 to 1 casts better than his 7-1 to 1 or 7-2 to 1, whatever he was talking about. And he's like, I know it shouldn't make a bit of difference, but he swore to it that it does. And I don't know what it is about it. And it could just be the fact that a higher ratio is a heavier reel, and there's more weight when you're casting them. You can just feel it different. It may just be in his head. It feels like it's harder to cast a heavier reel kind of thing. Who knows for sure? What goes on in a fisherman's mind, right? Why do you even bother to fish? If you just give them a kiss and throw them back. All right, let's go to the unboxing, and I'll talk about, oh wait, here's another reel right here. And while we're on the subject of reels, before we go to unboxing, the Reel Test just did a video about Pacific Fun, whatever, however you pronounce that. Some of these Chinese names just crack me up. You know, you guys know I struggle with the English language. So, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Italian, French, it's all jibber jabber, right? So anyway, this reel right here, the Reel Test did a test on the Pacific Fun reel, and I just wanted to throw this one back out there again to you guys. If you're just looking for a reel to get the job done and go out and fish, or you're wanting to buy one for your kids, or a spare to have in a boat if you want to let somebody else throw one, because this is a BFS. Now, it's a fairly deeper spool, but it's pretty shallow. It's like right on the verge of being a BFS-ish type reel, but it comes with a clicker. It's still like $20 to $23, depends on where you look on AliExpress, and there's videos out on it. But the easiest way to get on AliExpress and just start looking for BFS reels is simply type BFS bait casting reel in the search and just start scrolling through. Click on one, scroll down underneath the bottom of it, and just search away, because I found a reel, and I don't know if I'll share the link in this video, but it's real simple. You just type in, now they spelled it wrong. The name of the reel or brand is Elfish, E-L, fish, but they, one word, but they, in the search, you're going to want to put ER. For whatever reason, they put an ER instead of an EL whenever they listed the reel, but it's Mini Valley. So you type in Mini Valley ER fish as one word, and that should bring you to this reel. And it's not this reel, it's going to be a silver reel. So it's going to be silver, and it's going to have it's bright silver. It's probably as bright, maybe even brighter than this, but then it's going to have pinkish aluminum parts on it. And the reason I bring it up, it's a $99 reel. It looks pretty good. And when I watched the Reel Test doing that one on that Carbon SX or whatever that reel, the white reel, I went, that frame is the same frame as that Valley Mini I spotted a while back. So if you're thinking about getting that reel, I think they are direct variant and all the parts will interchange. And in the reel test, I can't remember. I don't think he showed us if that thing has a clicker or not, that white one for like 59 bucks. Now this Valley Mini is definitely, it's $100. I can't find any cheaper. I can only find it on one store. But on the side plate, it has a big dial like that other one had, and it has a little thing up here to open and shut it. And it has the front, how it has a little side deals, and it's got a little bump right here. It looks, I'm pretty sure it's the exact frame, and it's a carbon reel, but it does have a clicker, and it is a shallow, like a pinkish colored shallow BFS spool. And I can't remember the weight, but it tells you what the spool weighs and all that. It comes with a clicker. I want to say it's got pink aluminum handles or knobs on the handle. I believe the handle's carbon fiber. Nah, don't hold me to it. It may not be carbon fiber. I can't remember. But that, if you're definitely thinking you want the real test, you may also want to jump on that other one, because it looks like it. I've almost bought it a couple times. I've had it in my cart and then took it back out, put it back in. The Lingo variant, right this second, may still be on sale. Is also one that I'm like, I ought to get a couple more Lingles, because they're only like $65 maybe during the sale. But as you see, I got spare reels sitting around, so I kind of talked myself out of ordering any more reels for now, anything for now, right? I'm not even going to be fishing for a few more months, so I'm not in a big hurry. So let's take a look. Hang on, let me open this up. Let me put the packages down. So we got 1, 2, 3, and there's the one I've been waiting for. 4 packages out of the one to open up, and I gotta hire a new maid. So let's open this one. I'll show you right quick what it is. It is what I've been waiting for to try to get these bigger rods balanced. These are the bigger butt ends that I'm going to use. So this way, this will slide right on and off the Carbon Light 2.0s, but I'm going to try to wrap the weight around the end and maybe on the very back, and then slide this on. It'll give me a little more butt to slap into my gut on hook sets, that kind of stuff, so it'll make the rod a little more comfortable, but it'll let me get all the weight without affecting the rod, in case they're guaranteed for 10 years, right? I don't want to go cutting on the ends and they say it voids the warranty if I were to break one. And you guys have seen me fishing. I threw one in the water here a while back. It's in a video. Go check it out. So anyway, I got 4 of those if I want to put it on all 4, or I may get a couple other Carbon Lights that are bigger. The little one, the 6.6 medium light, the little one will be fine for it, and possibly the 7-foot, I don't know, but for sure the 7-foot heavy, I can't get enough weight with that regular butt deal, is why I just went ahead and bought 4 more of these. These are cheap also, and they match up real well to it. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you simply get, if you're gonna just put a little weight on the butt end, you'll want to get the, aren't these marked? I think these are extra large. The large are what I got, and then you'll want to get, hang on one second. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Yeah, these are marked. They're marked large. So regular, most all of your rod will take a large. It is not much bigger, but that'll let me wrap that weight around it and then pop that on, and it'll give me just a little more, you know, butt to, like you guys have probably seen some of these old timers, like I'm an old timer now too, but they got them real big foam ones. Roland Martin, I think, used them before. Is it Shaw Grigsby? I think I even seen, was it Edwin Evers or somebody maybe have some of those big old things, because you can. I mean, you know I have. I've watched Matt do it, and I'm sure you guys have done it too. You go to jabbing a rod into your gut and yanking, and like you'll hurt yourself. You'll give yourself a bruise. And especially some of these rods are just not designed, like especially that Carbon Light has a little dial to set so you know what line you got on or whatever. Those are actually like sharp edges. You could definitely get in a hurry out trying to set a deal. So these actually serve a couple purposes, what I was trying to get at here. So anyway, oh, I know what this is. Here's some baits. Now these, I have no idea if they're going to be good or not. I just saw them, ordered several packages, different weights. Well, if I can get them out here. So we've just got some different underspin. What's this one? Different sizes to go with our different size swim baits. Because Charles, for whatever reason, I just always put them on a regular like exposed swim bait type deal, or the Berkeley's you've seen me use, and Charles been getting these. So I've got some in gold, some in silver, and for the Meredith baits. You guys remember, right? I've been getting the Meredith baits also from AliExpress. So this is just something we'll be trying probably in the spring. I want to say I got, I should have like one of each size in each color. So yeah, I've got 3 different sizes in silver blade and 3 different sizes in the gold blade. Those will work for kind of BFS-y type things. That hook should be able to set the hook for sure with like the Teton, a lot of your light, medium light ones, and then of course you have some of your regular gear for the others. And they were, I don't remember the exact price, but pretty cheap to get all of these. I think it was a couple bucks a pack by the time they're like so much and then so much to ship, but if you buy a bunch like I did, the shipping's just one-time charge shipping thing, so it makes it pretty cheap just to get some and try them out. So I got those to get in the tackle box somewhere. Charles says he likes his John Koo kit. What, Charles, what John Koo kit are you talking about? I sent Charles a video on Messenger, and he never even responded, like if he watched it or not. Last day of fishing. Him and Matt, they were going to go Sunday. When they could go. I could only go Saturday. Well, I could go Sunday, but Saturday was 10 degrees warmer, and it was still cold. Sunday was just too cold. I don't even know what this is. Hang on. What did I buy? Packaging looks familiar. Oh, here. I ordered the wrong ones, and I hope these are the right ones if you guys are curious. And when I get all the right stuff, that they threw a, look at that, we got a bug. We got a bug infestation in here. You guys fish with that? You know the real test would. You throw that on a trout magnet. Catch a tarpon. Those don't look right, but they may be right. I'm trying to find the right ones to put on these reels. I ordered 12, and they're the wrong ones, wherever they're at. You guys ever had that problem? These look like the exact same thing. I'm going by the measurements of like what they show me, and I think they keep sending me the wrong ones. I don't know. Anyway, I got a bunch of these. I'm trying to get to where we can put this style. I had enough parts, just on old Daiwa parts, I put one of these on the Acura, and I can't get enough parts gathered up to put the others on. I want to put on the Acura. I probably de-anodize them because I like the all silver look. Just looks good. Now this is the line, should be the fishing line I've been wanting to try in this color. Now we've already tried this line, and so far I've not had one issue with it. If you guys remember right, I haven't really went into the full measuring of the diameter, but it's supposed to be the smaller diameter than a 15 pound, but it's 18 pound. Let me make sure they sent me the right color. It says blue, but that angry fish, let me see if you can see the specs. See, it says point 15, 18 pound. I think 327 yards was $8 or $9. But the purple stuff seems fine. So I'm going to put it on most of them purple rods. But then I wanted to get blue because I do have some. You guys see me using blue. I've been using the I think that was Hercules I originally bought a couple years ago, so it was time to get some more. So this line will go on, I'm not sure. For sure, my 6'9" medium heavy, probably on the heavy, but I may go ahead, they do have a few different other sizes. I may go ahead and get the, I don't know if they make a 20 or 25. I may get that and put it actually on the heavy, or just put that on and try it. But then that's going for sure also on the 7-foot medium moderate, and then I can change leader material, because that's a pretty, it is pretty thin. I don't know if it's exactly what they say it is, but it's definitely thin enough to you can cast real well with pretty lightweight bait. So you guys remember, right? We've been using like throwing crazy light with the 10-pound Hercules and Proberos with no issues. Like I can cast a trout magnet with the 10-pound braid that actually the diameter I think is not far from that. It's like 0.12 or I don't know, something. So we're going to try this again in this color, and I can almost tell you now though, I do recommend it as far as if you're looking for a blue, purple, black, a few different colors, just to punch in angry fish, that right here. Diamonate, I don't know. I don't know if they just can't spell or they misspell it slightly just on purpose, but I don't know if it's supposed to say dominate, but it doesn't. So anyway, we got that right there. What else do we want to talk about? Anything? You guys got any questions? Oh, Charles John Koo kit. So I guess the ones I've been watching Charles use are from John Koo. These are the twist on kind. Now I will tell you, let's talk about a few other things. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and open one of these up. They're sealed fresh. On because I put in a heading or in a comment thing about, and you guys comment below if you also watch Tactical Bass and you watch their buyer's guides, and what do I think about their buyer's guides. I think they're 100% legit, but I know 100% they can make you they can cost you a small fortune just on the baits they you go watch all their buyer's guides and you buy one thing from each buyer's guide and you'll spend $1,000. Just one thing from each buyer's guide. Because if you're on the high-end rod and reel combos, you got to buy one thing. One of those rods or one of those reels is going to be probably $500. You go to the $400 one, so they're definitely legit, but you can definitely spend a lot of money in this hobby of fishing, sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, however you look at it, and it could be either thing for you. It could be a profession, a sport, or a hobby. It's a fun factor, right, for us. We just do it for fun. But they also talked about you can get the different deals like this if you want a bigger one to help hold the bait better. We're going to try these just like they are. I'm not a fan of screw-in type stuff. I prefer them to have the little, you know, where I slide it on. And these are hard to do because they got this. That's why they have this style. It's almost something that you'd have to put it on there first and then tie it on or clip it on or whatever, which we wouldn't have a problem with clipping it on because we run clips. But that's the downside to any underspin that I have, you know, just your regular jig head type underspin. You put it on, you can't really throw it around too much stuff. It doesn't really go through a stuff actually as well as a spinner bait. It can tend to get gunked up unless you use something like this. This, you can pretty much throw these almost anywhere. If you get it rigged up good and right, you can swim it right around some wood and a bunch of other stuff. Have that thing exposed and just stuck back in, skin hooked back into the bait. You can get these things around a lot of spots. Trick is just matching up the right size to the right bait to where when it does collapse or a fish bites it, you're going to have pretty good hookup ratios. The only downside to using one of these over, you know, the one that's exposed and the hook setting up on top of the bait. Of course, you guys know me. I'll try chatterbait way longer than I should before I switch to an underspin or a spinner bait or anything like that a lot of times. But there are times when actually just a little bitty old swim bait without even an underspin. I got those little heads with the little wire sticking up. They're jeweled jigs that I just take the skirt off and put, you know, just one of those Meredith baits on, and that's worked real well for me also. But we're going to give these a shot, and they look pretty good. Hooks are definitely sharp. Those are pretty stout. That's the bigger ones. The little bitty ones, of course, you're going to want to be using little bitty, you know, lighter line. Not a loose drag, but your drag's set accordingly to the lighter line, so you shouldn't have any problem with bending hooks out if you're set up right. So those are those little bitty guys. That's what you're going to be your really finesse. I think those, I'd call that almost identical to like what we use with the VMC shaky heads. Roughly that same kind of wire. They flex some. They're pretty stout though. You usually, if you're like 10-pound or something like that, I've never had a problem. I've actually used the VMCs on, I think I had them medium heavy with the 15-pound drag. Didn't mess with the drag. That, you know, didn't have an issue with it in the few times I've used those for a shaky head. So that's pretty small, but I mean, it's still not. By the time you put a swim bait, a little 3-inch, I'm not sure how well these will work. We're just going to try them. But as you can see, we've gone, there's a middle size I got also, but pretty big difference between those two as to the size of swim bait you can run on it and the hook setting power you need for each one. You definitely don't want to throw that on BFS gear. You'll be getting all kinds of bites. You probably won't be getting all kinds of hookup ratios. Getting them in the boat. All right, we're back. This one would definitely be like the biggest one I've got, medium heavy rod. I wouldn't have a problem, I don't think, using my Teton light, but probably a medium light rod with this, or the medium. And that middle one, you could probably get by with the medium action rod. But then that bigger size, for sure, I'd go medium heavy. All right, is that it? Dude, these are, I think these are going to be a letdown. Unless they stick out just that much further. They're supposed to be a whole size different. Guess I could find out real quick. Because they're supposed to go in here and work this clicker. I don't think they're going to. They might. There's only one way to find out. Where is... Never mind, the reel is on. The reel I was talking about is on a rod over there, all covered up, so we're not going to mess with it. So anyway, if you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. I'll try to answer them, and every so often, if I will look back and I'll see from 2 months to 2 years somebody commented, asked a question that I missed. I'm not going to catch them all, and I will tell you this: if you're serious about wanting to know an answer to a question, ask it again, ask it right now. If it had to do with something that, you know, a couple months back, I have no issues with that. Like, hey, you were talking about this, or you said I was going to update this or that. Now, if it has something to do with bonsai, you're out of luck. But fishing related, jump in there. I'll try to answer whatever, if I can remember when it was. If you got a certain question about a certain thing that I talked about last year and I don't have it anymore, good luck. This reel I'm not going to use, I don't use, but I don't even know what to do with it. I've used it and it works good and it goes real good. I still have those rods. I've got 2 of them now, actually. Oh boy, I can't even remember the name of those rods. Charles, what's the name of those rods? We were getting them the same time we were getting these. Those little rods, 3-piece rods, are actually very good for the money. I may rig one. Those rods are just sitting there. I'm not even using either. I've got so much stuff that I'm not even going to use for who knows how long. Because I get in the zone. You guys have seen it. You guys probably know if you follow the channel long. I'll get in the BFS zone, and you'll see me out fishing BFS when I shouldn't be, probably. This last year I got on that chatterbait zone and I was throwing, we were going through a couple different rods. Then I got on this jig deal at the end, and it's just, I don't know if it's just what's hitting and I just stick to it, or if I just force the issue. You know what I'm talking about? I got confidence, so I force the issue. I'm trying to do something and it just ends up working. But I try to feel that I just kind of throw whatever's in my tackle box until something sticks. And for whatever reason, chatterbaits have stuck hard this year, probably because I have so many different variations, sizes, colors, and that it was game on. There's a few times I was trying to get the spinnerbaits in there to see how well. I just feel like I can work a chatterbait better than I can a spinnerbait. I can feel what's going on better. I get it down, bouncing off stuff more so than a spinnerbait, especially like grass and stuff. Like I feel grass, I got a better chance of ticking the grass, hitting the grass, and getting the chatterbait going again. Spinnerbaits, they got just enough, I don't know if you call it lag, or you're not in tune with it enough, or I'm not anyway, as much as I am chatterbait. So when it catches something, if I just tend to wait too long, and then I'm gunked up and it doesn't come out working right or something, to where it's just hard to explain. It's like I probably need to put more time in next year into spinnerbaits than I have. And I tried to this year, but I just feel like I get out there throwing a spinnerbait, and then I'm like, man, I throw a chatterbait and game on. So you guys comment what you think also. And then I feel like the year before was just like these jigs have kicked in now. I feel that the shaky head was the last couple years way over any jig, because I've had the jigs in the boxes and I throw them here and there. But if you guys watch the last few videos when I was out fishing with Matt, it was like because I started with the shaky head and I would catch a fish and I'd catch another. Then it seemed like it would be a dead zone. I'd pick up that jig, throw it out, bam, and then the jig just kind of stayed going, and then I'd grab the shaky head. And I think as part of the fact is I felt like I could use the jig better. I could swim it, and because they were on that bite where they weren't 100% cold water. You're just fishing real slow. I could kind of work that jig a little faster and get more bites than trying to work that shaky head slower. And I don't even work a shaky head real slow, but I felt like anytime when I was bottom bouncing, if I slowed down, I was wasting time. And I could spend, you guys won't see the footage, but I'd spend like a half hour slow jigging, bouncing. And I'm like, okay. And it seemed like every time I picked up the pace, that's when I'd get hit. But then I'd be like picking up the pace and I'd keep slowing down more and more and more until I felt like I was dragging so slow. And then I'd pick up the pace and I'd get another hit. So it was kind of one of those weird things, to where the bite was off enough that I just feel the jig is what was working. And so in the whole thing that took place this last year, I guess the point I'm going to try to make here, because I've been thinking about this for the last few weeks that I haven't been fishing, other than I really feel the jabberjaw was kicking in. I feel my rattle traps sucked this year compared to the last couple. And overall, my hard bait bite was slower than, not my soft baits, but my basically jig bait, the skirted type baits, other than a spinnerbait. The spinnerbait did work, but like the chatterbait, the jig, towards the end, once I started fishing different, like multiple different bodies of water, I feel like I was just out there getting, other than a couple days where the jabberjaw kicked in and seemed to be the bait that would just, like what you guys heard me say it, because Matt's the one that said, he's like, when it's on, it's on. I'd feel like, but there were more days that my chatterbaits, the jig, were on over my hard baits, because not so much last year a little bit, but the year before, man. And I know I was trying some square bill stuff, but it seemed like the square bills, my rattle trap game was going real good. Like the fish were just more apt to bite rattle traps, probably over a lot of other stuff. Like I went on insane tears at times where I wouldn't put the rattle trap down because it was just tearing them up. Now we had like two weekends this year that the rattle trap seemed to kick in and go good, but then the rest of the year, the rattle trap just would catch one here, one there, never seemed to get on a bite other than like, I think it was about 2 weekends, and it seemed to be white. It was like a half-ounce white rattle trap we got on tears on a couple different weekends, me and Matt, but they didn't hardly work anywhere else that, I don't know. So it's just, I don't know if that's in my head also, but it's something to think about. Like if you're out there and you're primarily say you're a, you're a cranker, you're throwing crankbaits of some sort, and it just seems tough that a lot of times just switching it up, because there's so many different, you can get the swimming jigs, different jigs that have skirts, the chatterbaits, the spinner baits, and sometimes even when you don't think, because I was also watching a video today, Greg Hackney, and I can't remember who he's out with, they were in clear water. It was rainy conditions, but clear water with wind. And because I've always heard spinner baits kind of work better, like you don't want the fish to see it as well, but I feel the fish were seeing it perfectly, and they were just tearing them up on spinner baits. And I feel that same way about chatterbaits. I feel that some of the best chatterbait days I've had is when the fish can clearly see real well. Clear water, in and around grass, like they can't resist it. I don't care what they think it looks like, they just tear it up. Especially if you get it to, darting or changing up and popping it in and off something, something about that skirt moving or whatever, they can't resist that. And they have to eat it, kind of thing, to where I feel sometimes that a hard bait just doesn't have that extra movement, and sometimes that, and like for me anyway this year, it was like that's what they needed to go ahead and hit over a lot of other baits. Anyway, just something to think about. You guys feel free to comment if you just feel like is it like a seasonal thing, or I think some baits just come and go as far as what majority of people are out throwing. I think if, that's why you kind of watch stuff cycle through, especially if you guys know that if you watch different tournaments and you're paying attention to who's, what they're catching them on, how they're catching them, and you'll see that like some baits just fade away, and then in a couple years they come back because they just kind of, people stop throwing them as much. And next thing you know, nobody's throwing them. Only a handful of guys here or there, but the majority of people just aren't throwing that style of bait, whether it be certain type of crank, certain type of, the skirted type baits or whatever, and then all of a sudden, they just kind of come back into their own. Same thing with, kind of like the I have a funny feeling, I think the rattle traps are like that. You just get guys that get out throwing, they'll start hitting rattle traps real good until everybody and their brother's throwing them, because a rattle trap's like that distinctive, you can't mistake it, I don't think, really for hardly anything else. And then if everybody and their brother's fishing that, it's going to have a dead time to where it basically has to reset to where, every fish in the ponds, lakes, and pits aren't, they're not used to a rattle trap. It's faded out of their memory or whatever, and then it'll come back on again like a lot of other baits, right? Maybe, maybe not. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I go into bed. I'm leaving this mess for the maid to clean up, and that'll be me tomorrow night at some point. But tonight, I'm going to sleep. Tomorrow, I'll probably. Well, first of all, here's you know what I just thought. I got to track down those weights. They make weights for like car wheels and stuff. They're actually soft. I've got some of them. I've got part of one wrapped around my 6'9" medium heavy. But it's just kind of like they took whatever lead, kind of like they do on these. They basically have ground up metal into rubber, and it's very heavy, and you can wrap it around a rod and then stick this over it to get your rods balanced, to balance out your combos. So that's what my plan is to do on, for sure, all the carbon lights, and then I think the Big Sexy, it's about right where it needs to be. But for other rods in the future, a few guys, and they do make these in several different colors. You guys have seen if you follow the channel. Brown, orange, red, green, I think, black. Black ones are pretty good for just to put on almost any rod. If you're like, I don't want no funny colored ones, and gray would look too weird, and brown would look weird. But like if you, in my opinion anyway, if you've got a true cork, you know, handle coming down, the brown is probably about the best color to stick on the end, or the black. But these go real good with the carbon lights. That gray color matches up real well. All right, guys, get out of here. Go bass bonsai. I'm going to sleep. You guys can probably tell I'm tired. I've been at work, get Noah, run him around, to the gym, put up curtains, did this video. Now I'm going to bed. Bye.